Here are 5 tips you should consider if you're finishing your basement. Whether you're doing it yourself or you're hiring a contractor, these are tips that can really help you through the process. My name's Heath Cillessen. I've been a general contractor for over 13 years. My company's finished hundreds of basements in the Denver metro area, and here are 5 tips that you should consider. So the first step we want to talk about is planning. So when you're going to get a basement permit or finish your basement, it's important to pull a permit with your local jurisdiction. But in order to have that permit, you're going to need to have plans. So a lot of times, even building departments, they'll have a guide on their website that gives you all the different steps of what the building department will need for that permit. A lot of times these plans can even be hand drawn as long as they're scalable. So, basically an inspector can take their scale out and measure out how long a wall is. So it's something you can do yourself, or you can hire a professional. It's something we do at CCC is make basement finish plans, but you're going to need a plan to submit to the building department. And when you're making your plan for a basement finish, it's important to remember what all you want in the space. So you're going to plan out your bedrooms, your hallways, your living rooms, closets. But something to remember is where steel posts may be in your basement or existing plumbing. What's funny is every builder, when they're building a basement, they try to rough in about where a toilet or a bathroom is going to be. And about 9 times out of 10, it's in the wrong spot. So a lot of times you have to remove a little concrete and move some of those things. But if you plan well, you can plan to where you're using most of those existing plumbing stub ups that are coming out of the concrete. So in that way, you can do minimal work as far as concrete demo and repair work. But first step, do your plan. Whether you do it yourself or you hire a professional like us at CCC, that's your first step. And make sure to go to your jurisdiction's website, download their basement finish guide, and that will really walk you through all the different steps that you need in order to complete your basement. Okay, step 2. So now you've got your permit, you've got your plans for your basement, and you have to start building your basement. So the first step is typically concrete demo, doing any underground plumbing work, and then the fun part, framing the walls, getting all the layout of the walls done. Now, if this is something you're doing yourself, you're gonna have to learn what the difference is of a regular wall and a floating wall. So in basements in Colorado, a lot of times we have what's called a floating wall. Sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Well, floating wall, it actually hangs from up high, and there's pins that drive into the floor that allow for movement. Why is that? Well, in Colorado, a lot of basements have just concrete floors. And when those concrete floors are poured, those floors, they can move a little bit, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Sometimes there's even more movement. And these floating walls allow for a little bit of movement in the ground. If you don't have that movement, then it can cause major structural issues in your home. So again, on your building jurisdiction's website, they'll have a basement finish guide, and they'll even show you a floating wall detail of what that looks like. Once you have all your framing done, then it's the next step, getting all mechanical, electrical, plumbing completed. Then it's the fun part where you start seeing the space come together. Okay, so tip number 3 for if you're finishing your basement, take your iPhone, walk around and do literally a video of every single wall. That way you have records of what's behind the drywall in case you ever need to reference back. Maybe you're trying to find some backing to hang a TV or something like that. Something we do on every one of our projects to make sure that we always have everything documented, but also we know where different electrical lines and plumbing lines are ran. So step 3, take a video of all your walls before you cover them up. Okay, so step number 4 for finishing your basement. So now you've got all your walls done, you've documented it, you're ready to go on insulation and drywall. Now, if you think the dust from framing was one thing, just wait until you get into drywall dust. It is the worst dust you can have on a project. We're always cleaning it up. But something you can do, and something we do at CCC, is we use air scrubbers. So an air scrubber is a machine that you can rent, or if you work with CCC, we have them, we provide them for all of our projects, especially where our clients are living in the home. And basically it sucks in the air into a machine, cleans the air, filters it out, and pushes clean air out. So what this does is it minimizes how much dust we have when we're doing drywall and these really dusty stages of the project. And on top of that, you can close off the filters or the intake to your furnace system in the basement area, so it's not taking that drywall dust, pushing it into your furnace and out into the home. With these simple steps of having a scrubber and also closing off your ductwork, you can minimize the dust in the rest of your home and make sure your family is breathing healthy air while finishing your basement. Okay, so we have given you 4 tips so far. So here is tip number 5 for finishing your basement. So now your walls are done, your drywall's done, you've got your spaces laid out, and you're entering the area of what we call finishing trades. So you're installing flooring and trim, different things like this. So important tip is to always leave room for movement. Remember, we talked about how on our walls, they have to be floating because the ground in Colorado, it can move a little bit over time. So when you're selecting floor finish materials, for example, if you pick tile, that floor just shifts even a little bit, you're gonna start having cracks in all your tile work. For example, instead of picking tile for a basement floor, it'd be more advantageous to pick something like a luxury vinyl plank or a floor that allows for a little bit of movement with time. By doing this, it will make it so you're not making repairs on something you just finished in your basement. Again, if you're working with CCC, we're gonna help you through the selection process and make sure the materials you pick are good for your basement project. Okay, so that's a wrap. We've given you 5 tips for finishing out your basement, but here's one bonus tip, something that sometimes you may forget. You've done all this work to finish your basement. Maybe you've done it yourself. Hopefully you've hired us to complete your basement so you don't have to worry about anything. But at the very end, make sure you get your final inspections. Sometimes an owner gets to the finish line, they're super excited about having their space completed, they move their furniture in, have a big party to celebrate their new basement, and they forget just the simple step of calling the building department and getting all those final inspections for mechanical, plumbing, electrical, and your final building inspection. By doing this, then your permit can officially be closed out and you have a permitted and completed basement finish project. Thanks for following along. That's our tips for finishing a basement. Make sure to hit that subscribe button or comment on any other tips that you like for a basement.